Yesterday evening, it was budget number 2 for Treasurer Jim Chalmers, and of course we'll see what the nation thinks of all of that over the next little while. Of course, a lot of conversations. One of those who's been poring over that information is our Director of News and Information Services here at 2NURFM, Ian Crouch. I'm kind of trying to stretch
You're
out...
stretching out my title there.
Yeah, it's to the point where you can't fit it on a business card. What do you think?
Yeah.
Makes you sound more important.
Well, it does.
Not that you're not important, but, you know...
Just more important.
More important. More, please. Before we get into the main stuff of this, though, the whole budget process, the whole process of handing down the document, it's a big day for everybody yesterday, isn't it?
Yes. It's, if you're in any way involved with it, it sucks up your life, basically. That's it.
They're stuck down there all day poring over the... I mean, you get the short version on the telly, but the long version is, here's this book, Doug. Have a look through it.
Well, you remember when we did the HSC back in the day, we used to have those lever arch files.
Yes.
And put it this way, there's more documents in the lever arch file than you wouldn't have notes for the HSC all year.
It's crazy stuff.
It's crazy. It's huge.
So I reckon next year, because we love to inform our listener, we would love. What about if you pop down to Canberra next year and get stuck in that reading room all day having a look through?
Yeah. I'll be right in that.
Yeah, that's a no. It's a no. I've heard enough no's in my life to know that was one of them.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at some of the main pointers. We know the big conversation around the country for a while now, and will continue to be, is energy.
That's right. The Hunter's future clean energy industry, you could say, was probably the biggest winner in last night's federal budget for the region. Treasurer Jim Chalmers announced a $4 billion boost towards green hydrogen production and reaffirmed the $25 million per year commitment for the next 4 years towards the Port of Newcastle's clean energy precinct. Now, there's also $100 million over 4 years to expand the number of maintenance bays for the F-35 Joint Strike Fighters at Williamtown from 2 to 6. That's to meet forecast future demand. Otherwise, there's more than $14.5 billion allocated for cost of living relief in the budget. Now, many households will get $500 cut from their power bills, while children and concession card holders will get better access to GPs thanks to a $3.5 billion spend to triple bulk billing incentives. Now, that's probably a pretty good thing, because that's been something we've been crying out for in this part of the world. So often you go to the doctor and you're having to fork out $85 straight up.
Well,
maybe get half of it back.
Well, here's the thing. I had to do a doctor visit last year. I think last year. I'm not a regular doctor person, thankfully. And then you cannot find... I challenge anybody to ring up and find a bulk billing doctor right now today. It's not there. It doesn't exist. So the cost of living stuff, though, the $500 rebate there, that's great for Powerball number 1. What do you do after that?
That's exactly right. That's the problem.
The technical term is you're still buggered.
Yeah. It's a one-off moment in time. It's like, spending your pocket money on lollies. and then once you've had them, all you've got left is the memory. There's nothing, you're not building towards anything to the future. Also, the Hunter's 25,000 job seeker recipients will get an extra $20 a week, while the 50,000 getting rental assistance will get a 15% increase. That equates to about $31.
That actually sounds... See, obviously not a salesman if you say the $40 a fortnight. $40 sounds better than $20.
That's true. The budget has confirmed high-speed rail between Newcastle and Sydney is still on the agenda, although we all must admit it's a long way off.
Yeah, so is me marrying a supermodel. That's on the agenda, but we can the continual promise. This, I don't think it's basically a white elephant promise at this stage. We're not going to ever see it.
Well, it'd be nice to see it. I think it'd be a great thing to happen.
Agreed.
And would help get a whole lot of cars off the road, because people would travel from Newcastle to Sydney and, dare I say, the other way as well.
Yeah.
During a trip to Newcastle last year in January, Anthony Albanese committed a future Labor government to setting aside $500 million in its first budget, and this was announced in the government's first budget last October for planning and corridor acquisition of properties between the two cities. Now, last night, $13.5 billion was allocated over 3 years to establish a high-speed rail authority to plan the Newcastle to Sydney route and identify and secure corridors. Now, the authority will start work next month and will comprise a 5-member board and employ 13 staff over the coming financial year. to advise the government on this thing. So we're
More
creating,
advisors.
Yeah, we're creating a new level of bureaucracy, basically. We can't seem to find something within the government that can, handle this. But, that's the way it's going. It's a very small step. And how long this will take, we don't know. It's a long, long way away. So that's some of the things from the budget. Some of the reaction overnight. Shortland MP and Minister for Defence Industry Pat Conroy says the cost of living and health measures in the budget will provide much needed cost of living relief to thousands of Hunter residents while investing in jobs and building capacity in the clean energy sector. Lion MP David Gillespie says the extra spending on welfare relief and the one-off electricity payment doesn't address the cost of living crisis and will only put more pressure on inflation, interest rates and energy costs. He claims typical working families trying to pay the mortgage will be $25,000 worse off under this budget, with promised tax cuts eliminated and the low to middle income tax offset removed. Yes, which has been delivering more than $1,000 a year to these people. So,
well, look, if you're the opposition right now, if you're not a member of the government anyway, and why are you not out there this morning going, when you go to see your accountant in a couple of months, you were somewhere between $1,200 and $1,500 a year worse off? Because even forgetting the cost of living stuff that's ongoing, this is a reality that will hit you at tax time right now. This is something they could campaign on as of 9 o'clock this morning.
Sure, absolutely. David Gillespie also says that we should be going to the root cause of inflation, too much government spending. And while doing more while doing more to support business and working families, not just recipients. So, as we said before, these handouts are nice and they're nice in the moment, but they won't go anywhere. Once they're spent, it's done.
They're like a birthday present, aren't they? I mean, it's nice on your birthday, but then the next day your life just continues on.
It's what are you investing in? You're doing something that'll grow the economy and actually deal with some of the issues, or you're just going to put a Band-Aid on it. And it looks a bit like that to some of these people. Also today, Business Hunter Policy and Public Affairs Manager Sheena Martin says the clean energy and $20,000 small business decarbonisation incentive are welcome, along with the $650 energy price relief plan and funding towards high-speed rail and the F-35 strike fighters. But she says there's no mention of those major road projects like the M1 extension to Raymond Terrace, the bypasses at Singleton and Muswellbrook, or the Mandalong Road upgrade in the budget. And they remain hopeful that these projects would be delivered, although they would have liked to have seen this reaffirmed last night. Now, Pat Conroy said to us this morning, well, that was actually what we covered in the first budget. Okay, that's fine. Just make sure you follow through on the promise, because these things will actually open up the region and open up opportunities, open up jobs, open up housing, opportunities for housing especially, that sort of thing.
Hopefully they are still there. So as you know, so I've been trying to be very not negative in this.
Yeah, okay.
Which is a surprise here. Hopefully those road projects still go ahead. Hopefully that wasn't a case of just being shifty and playing a little bit of three-card Monty. Hopefully it is, as we can take at face value. They were mentioned last time. There's still the ongoing work in the background to get them up and going as well.
Yeah, and as Catherine King, the Infrastructure Minister, said last week, that these projects are already underway, and so they're not going to be part of their infrastructure review. Well, it's good news. Let's hope they stick to that and keep things rolling out for us, because those road projects are very, very important for our region.
It would have been very hard for the government to sort of look at spending and do a bit of a blame game. Really, I noticed they didn't do too much of the blame game on the previous government's debt, because while they were in opposition, they actually voted for every cent during the COVID time and actually wanted a little bit more spending, which didn't happen. So
that's true.
It would be a bit hard to sort of
you can't turn around. Yeah, you can't turn around now and say, "Oh, it was bad."
It was the last guys were terrible. You actually wanted to spend more. Look, to be fair, there are some things in there for some people. I just think it's a shame that always what we call the middle class are always getting your wallet raided. That's what it is. You go to the tax man. Nope, we don't care about you.
These working families, as they're called, they provide the tax dollars that provide the money to pay these people and so on, and it's just going to become more so. So if you're not going to do anything to address the core issues of inflation, which is spending, you can't spend your way out of inflation. That's what all the experts are saying to us.
And also, and something I hope that isn't lost as well, and then I'll let you go, because I know you love being done with budget time, so I do thank you. The little minute small surplus that apparently will be here for a little bit and gone, all thanks to the great people that work, as many here in the primary industry sector, which is so demonised wrongly. That's my view, constantly over and over. But well done to everybody there that's actually given the government a few dollars that they can go and spend elsewhere.
Yes, excellent.
Ian,
All right.
thank you so much for a bit of an update there. I know there's
pleasure.
lots to look through, and you can go and get your team ready for 12:05 today.
Will do.
That's the news director at 2NURFM, Ian Crouch, having a look at budget, and he is now done for another 12 months, unless you want to come back when the state does theirs.
No, that happens during the middle of the day, so my team will cover that for us.
2NURFM, a broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.